Hi and welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to be talking all about sleep without sleep training and how I did that with my son, who is now 14 months old. So the first part of the video, I will be talking about our experience and what kind of led us to this. And then at the end, I will give some tips and some tricks that we used to make this all work. So let's just get right into it. I want to start by saying that this video isn't to make, moms feel bad about themselves or to shame a group of moms if they chose to sleep train or not sleep train or whatever. This is just our journey and what felt best for me. I honestly was planning on sleep training our son up until literally once he was born. I was like, I can't sleep train him. So that's just what was best for our family, and it's going to be different from family to family and whatever your circumstances are. I just wanted to put this video out there because there can be a lot of pressure to sleep train, and I know for me, it didn't feel right and I didn't want to, but I couldn't find a whole lot of resources as what the other options were. It's like, do you just sleep train your baby, or you never sleep and they never sleep? Like, how do you get them to sleep then if you don't sleep train? Because honestly, I was a nanny, I am a nanny, and I always slept. I helped families sleep train their babies. Like, that's all I knew. I didn't know anything besides that. And I think that's really common in this society, that's just what we do. So I wanted to make this just to kind of just to shed some light on what it can look like, because that was another thing I was wondering was, okay, if I don't sleep train him and he doesn't let me put him down for any of his naps ever, then what will that look like as he gets older? How will that change? And so I just wanted to share my story, share my experience to hopefully give other families out there some hope and some just information. So when my son was first born, I decided that I didn't want to swaddle him ever as a newborn baby or, anytime. So as soon as he was born, I never swaddled him. We were in the hospital and I didn't bring any swaddles. I didn't want to swaddle him. So it made it very difficult to put him down in the little bassinet that they give you in the hospital, because he would instantly ball up and roll off to the side and hit the plastic, and he just didn't like it. He wasn't comfortable. I was like, it just seems like he wants me to hold him. He just wanted me to hold him the whole time. And so they put up a sign saying you're not allowed to sleep with your baby in the hospital bed with you and have you be asleep. So I was like, I guess I'm not going to sleep the whole time we're here because I can't put him down. He wants me to hold him the whole time. And so my husband and I took turns trying to hold him and trying to sleep, but I didn't really sleep the whole time we were in the hospital. Luckily, we were just there for 24 hours. And then we were able to leave. And I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? What's our plan when we go home? Because I don't think he's gonna like that bassinet at home any more than he liked the bassinet at the hospital. So we got home. It was the daytime, so we went throughout the day. He was sleeping on my chest on the couch and everything was fine. And then it came time to go to sleep that night. And I was like, okay, I put him in his jammies. I tried to lay him down, and he would scream the second I laid him down. I was like, okay. I had a Snuggle Me organic, and I was like, you're not supposed, that's not sleep safe. But I was like, maybe I'll try putting him in the bassinet, and that will help him sleep. And it didn't. He was just screaming, and then he was just mad. He's like, why do you keep trying to put me down in here and all this stuff? I was like, literally didn't know what to do. So I just picked him up, and I just remember me and my husband laid in bed, and I just held him and snuggled him up, and he instantly fell asleep. And we were so tired from not sleeping. We fell asleep and we slept the whole night like that with him in our bed. And I was like, this is it. Like, he's gonna bed share with us. This is like the best thing ever. He won't let us put him down. And so he's just gonna sleep in bed with us. Like, we slept great. It was so nice and easy with breastfeeding because I was just sideline and nursing him throughout the night if he did wake up, and he'd fall right back asleep. And I was like, okay. Like, it was just instant. I was like, I would never bed share. And then I was like, I'm going to for sure bed share. This is the only thing I'm ever gonna do. This is the best. So it's kind of funny how I was like, I'm gonna sleep train. And I was always so against like people letting their babies in their bed. I was like, then they're gonna think they can do that all the time and all this stuff. But once I had him, I was like, okay, like, this is what I gotta do. This is what it felt right and natural. I slept way better being able to feel him and know he was safe next to me the whole time instead of in a bassinet. And then you're always like waking up and wondering because they're not in close enough proximity to you to be able to, that's just how it was for me at least. Like, I wanted to feel him and know that he was there and safe. So we woke up that morning and I was like, okay, if we're gonna do this, have him sleep in our bed, like, I know there's gotta be a safe way. So I started looking up safe ways to bed share, and there's something called the, oh my gosh, I should probably have double checked this. I think it's called it's like 5 things, the Safe 5 maybe. And you can look that up, but it's like, you know, the parent has to be sober, you have to be having a breastfeeding relationship if they're under 3 months old, no blankets, no like cords, and the something else. You can look it up. But I was like, okay. So I remember I made our bed all safe. I took our comforter off, and how we did it was we each had our own individual blanket. So that way, like, we could kind of each snuggle up without pulling like a whole blanket up and over the whole bed. That would then cover his face because the baby can't have any blankets on them or anything. They need to be over the blanket. So I looked it all up, we set it all up, and from there on, like that, to this day still, we bed share with him all night long. And the harder part for me came with naps, because he also didn't let me put him down for naps. I always was holding him for naps, which was fine, and I loved it until I had to go back to work as a nanny. And so I was like, I can't hold him all day long, like whether he's awake or sleeping. Like, I need to be able to put him down so that I can take care of the other kids that I'm taking care of. But no matter what I tried when he was that new, I went back to work at 6 weeks old, 6 weeks postpartum, when he was 6 weeks old, and I couldn't put him down. I found something that did work for us was to wore him in a carrier so that I at least had my hands free. And that was helpful, but I was like, I can't put him, like, I would try right when he fell asleep to lay him down and he'd instantly wake up. I tried waiting a little bit longer. Sometimes I would get like 5 or 10 minutes out of him, but he would always wake up after his first sleep cycle. And I was like, I don't know how to get him to sleep longer than that. I know he's still tired, and I didn't really know what to do. But no matter what I tried, that's kind of just how it was. I'd say until around, excuse me, my throat is tickly, I need some water. I'd say that's how he was until about 9 months old. And around 9 months old was when I was able to lay him down, or I would nurse him in the bed lying and be able to roll away. I didn't even think about that for some reason until he was like 8 or 9 months old. I was like, oh, I'll just nurse him and like roll away. It's easier than like trying to lay him down. So anyways, right around 9 months old was when I was able to either nurse him to sleep, or I figured out, which I'll mention at the end, kind of my tips of like how I lay them down or roll away and like all this stuff. But I was able to figure out how to lay him down and he'd stay asleep, and he'd stay asleep for like an hour and a half instead of, up until then it was like 35 minutes to 45 minutes on the dot. He'd wake up and I couldn't get him back to sleep if I had laid him down. If I was holding him, he'd sleep like the hour and a half, 2 hours every nap. So right around 9 months was like the like exciting, like he'll actually sleep for a whole nap by himself. He still needed me to rock him or nurse him or whatever you choose to do to get him to go to sleep, but he was able to be sleeping for as long as he needed his full, not just one sleep cycle at that age. And that was also the age prior to this. I would put him to bed at 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and I had to stay in the bed with him. I would like look at my phone or something, but I couldn't like get up. And right around that age was when I was like, I'm gonna try like putting him to sleep for the night and then rolling away, and it worked. I was, at first, he again would only like stay asleep for like 30 minutes, but then he got more and more used to it, and it was like, okay, I'd get like an hour and a half. Now it's like he doesn't usually wake up until I go back in there. Like it could be 2 or 3 hours. He'll stay asleep, and I'm able to come out and like hang out with my husband and watch a show and stuff like that, and it's been great. So now we're at the point where he takes one nap a day. I nurse him to sleep. He falls asleep within like 5 minutes. I roll away and he'll sleep. Sometimes he'll wake up after like an hour and a half, and I can go nurse him back to sleep for like another hour and a half, and he'll take like a 3-hour nap. Sometimes he'll just go a full 3 hours. Sometimes it'll be like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, but he takes, for the most part, just his full naps by himself now after I get him to sleep. And so that's been great. I mean, I never thought, if you told me when he was like 6 months old that I'd ever be able to leave him for longer than 30 minutes to sleep, I would have been like, not my son. My son's different. He needs me all the time to sleep. But as he's gotten older and older, it's just gotten easier and easier to let him sleep by himself. And honestly, that was like something I was so afraid of. I was like, I don't want to sleep train him, but what if he needs me to lay next to him or be holding him till he's 3 years old? And I don't know, every baby is different, but from what I've heard, a lot of other parents say as well, is that they'll sleep on their own when they're ready. And I've seen it to be true. Like, it's just been so nice now to be able to have a little bit more of that freedom back, to be able to actually do things during his nap time instead of be stuck holding him. And I loved holding him. I really did. And I would just like watch YouTube or look at my phone, and it was like a nice time to relax. It really was, but it's also been nice. It's like a new chapter of life now to actually be able to do things while he's napping, like film this video. So that's kind of our story and how the journey has gone for us. Now I'll get into some of the tips and some things that I did start doing around the like 7, 8 month mark, and by 9 months he was doing great naps by himself. So one of the things I learned are called sleep associations, which we all have, and I'm sure you've probably maybe not heard that name, but know of them. So it's like using the white noise, using a binky, nursing to sleep, rocking to sleep, bouncing to sleep, wearing them in a carrier, in a stroller, in the car, whatever it is that makes them realize it's time to go to sleep and helps them get to sleep is a sleep association. So in the sleep training world, these are kind of talked about as a negative thing, but they actually are a really helpful, positive thing that you actually want like a lot of different ones of. You want a lot of associations for them so that they can fall asleep in various different situations by various different people. If you only nurse to sleep, which there's no problem with that, and if you can do that, which is like that's what I do, then that's great. But if you want your husband to be able to put them to sleep or anything else, then layering on sleep association, so while you're nursing them, you can pat their bum, or you can have the white noise on, or you can sing them a song or hum or rub their back, and it's helping layer on the association so that you can take a few back, like you take nursing away, but you still have the white noise, and you still have, someone else rubbing their back or humming or singing a certain song, so they can still go to sleep. This also helps with them waking up in between sleep cycles. You can go in and just rub their back, or if it's strong enough and it's just the white noise is their sleep association, they'll wake up and be like, oh, there's the white noise, like I'm going back to sleep, I'm still sleepy. So looking at what they already have and thinking what you can layer on, and it goes the same with, say, you're like, oh my gosh, all I can do is like bounce my baby and I'm so tired of just bouncing my baby to sleep. Try adding in other things like humming, like rubbing their hair while you're bouncing them, and then you can slowly start to take the bouncing away, or whatever it is, whatever association it is that you're not necessarily wanting to continue. If you add in more, then you can kind of take that one back once they've got stronger associations with the other things. So that's my number one tip. And I started doing that when he was about 7 months old. And then the other tip that I have really is, if you can, have your bed on the floor, have your baby's bed on the floor, a mattress, a pad, whatever you can, and do the either side nurse them and roll away, or even sometimes he wouldn't nurse to sleep, but he always has had a binky. So I'd give him his binky and I'd lay with him and I'd just like pat his butt, or I'd pat his chest and I'd shush him, and then I'd roll away. So, or you can do a bottle if you do bottles, whatever it is. I found that to just be so helpful, because it's a lot more startling, especially when they're younger, to put them down. Now I wanted to give a tip of how I laid him down, but I don't really know how to explain this. So I'd be holding him, like, I'll try to show you. I was holding him like this, he's laying down. And what you want to do is you put their bum down first. So he has his head still in and his feet kind of here. And this is where it becomes easier, because in a crib, you're like trying to like bend all over. But if they're just in a bed on the floor, it's so much easier to lay them down. That's what I found too. I could not put him like in a pack and play or a crib. He'd instantly fall asleep. But when I could really get close and like lay him down gently, that's when he stopped waking up. So you put their bum down first. This is what I do. And then I kind of move this arm, and I grabbed his legs so they didn't move, and slowly put them down. Okay, so his bum and his legs are down on the bed, and then he has his head here, and I would hold his head. You can't even see me. I'd hold his head now, and I'd slide my arm out, and then I'd have his head in my hands, and then I'd slowly put his head down. So maybe your baby doesn't need you to be quite so intense about it. My son did, and that's what I did, and it helped. So you put their bum down first, and then their feet, and then their head last, and just try to be as slow as you can. And yeah, that's what really was like a game changer too, was to not put them in something you have to reach over, but to put them on the floor on some sort of pad, mattress type thing, and make sure that their environment is baby safe. And I mean, if it's completely baby safe, I guess you don't need a monitor, but I always had like a monitor on him as well, just because I didn't want him to accidentally roll off even the floor bed, so I'm watching him right now. And yes, I'm trying to think. I talked about the associations, how to lay them down. What else was there? I think that's everything. Again, I just wanted to give hope to other parents out there that are like, I don't want to sleep train, but will my baby ever sleep? Yes. I mean, I do still help support him to sleep. I also wanted to mention that before he wouldn't nurse to sleep for some reason when he was a baby. So I'd nurse him first to try to get him sleepy. Then I'd give him his binky, and then I'd stand up and I'd shush him and I'd rock him, and then I'd lay him down. As he's gotten older, and this is normal, their preferences will kind of change, and now he doesn't want to be rocked. He'll nurse, sometimes nurse right to sleep, and that's like the best, and it takes like 5 minutes. Sometimes he'll be nursing, and then he'll roll around, and he'll want to like play around and like roll around in the bed, and then he'll like come back and nurse, and he might do that a few times and then eventually fall asleep. And so that's kind of nice, because I feel like it's a little bit easier on me. Like, I just hang out in the bed with him while he's like getting situated and getting comfortable and tired enough. And so it's just always changing what they prefer and everything like that. So I feel like just those first 6 months, I was just like, is this ever going to change? Am I going to be doing this forever? No, they really will change. And I also want to say that it is 100% completely normal for your baby to want to be in close contact with you when they're sleeping. It's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with it. And I mean, if you like it and it works for you, then really it's not going to mess up your baby. It's great. If you can do it and you love it, then keep doing what works until it doesn't work anymore. If you are needing to go back to work and you're needing another caregiver to take care of your baby, or you're just getting tired of rocking them or holding them, then there are things you can do besides sleep training. So that's what really this video is about. And so I hope that you learned something from it. And if you have any other questions, or you want me to make a different video about it, or you want to share your story, please do in the comments. And I hope that this was helpful. And thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in my next video.